Hi y'all, welcome back or welcome to Feelin' Froggy Knits. My name is Maya and today we are going through part 1 of my spring refresh. Let's go! I think just like everybody else around this time of year, we look at our stock of things around us and the things that we have, things that we would like to find different purposes for to give away. So I wanted to film, record, and put out my spring cleaning. I've been wanting to make a frog or finish video for a while, and I thought that this would kind of be a perfect avenue to do so. I will be frogging and, processing the unwound yarn. It comes out like ramen noodles, and I want to make it usable again so I can either repurpose or start fresh on these different projects. Oh, and make sure to grab your drink of choice. It's the afternoon, it's a lovely sunny day. I've got a nice iced latte here with oat milk. Y'all know my recipe. Espresso, oat milk, and brown sugar. Brown sugar just adds the perfect sweetness and kind of a nice level of flavor. Anyways, I thought the floor would be the perfect spot to kind of do this video, but as you can see behind me, I have a stack of project bags that have some languishing whips in them. But as I said before, ramen noodle yarn isn't very easy to use and to work with. I actually just unraveled a sock project that I was working on, started a new sock project with it, and didn't, wash it or hank it up to get rid of the kinkiness. I've been using that yarn that I unwound from a different sock project, and I will say the stitch definition does look a little bit off. I do tend to hold my yarn fairly tight, so it is usually not an issue, but in this case, it kind of has been. I'm hoping blocking will help with it, but I want to prevent that from happening to these future projects. The best way to frog an item, I think, is to have a niddy noddy to be able to wrap your yarn around, do a figure 8 knot. I've been doing a lot of research, doing a figure 8 knot in the yarn, washing it, or even just maybe like steaming it or spraying it with water, I think might do the trick. I'm gonna try a combination of those 3 ways to get my yarn all raring to go. I don't have a niddy noddy, and I don't really want to just go out and buy one yet. I'm not super far into my spinning, and I think it's kind of an investment. So I found this blog, and it'll be on the bottom of the screen, link down below, everything like that. I found this blog on how to make a niddy noddy out of PVC pipe. How cool. Last night I went to Home Depot and I got the correct ingredients. I got the supplies to make a niddy noddy, and what you need are 2 24-inch half-inch PVC pipes, 2 half-inch. Oh no, that does not look like half-inch, but it fits still. I don't know. 2 half-inch 3T or T, I think is what those are called, and then 4 caps to be able to put on the ends of your PVC pipe. With all of these supplies in mind, my fiance is going to help me out in his shop to cut these to length because I am going to need to make some cuts to be able to do this. But I figured we would start by getting out to the shop, setting the niddy noddy up, and then we will get into the frog or finish portion. So then I can go right into frogging, not finishing. I'm gonna might have to hold off on the finishing for a little while. Well, y'all, without further ado, let's get out to the shop. Well, y'all, as the old saying goes, it would not be a true project unless you had to go back to Home Depot again. So somebody put the wrong tee into the box. I need half inch, and then this end right now is, doesn't say, but definitely more than half an inch, which means I need to go back to Home Depot. So I'll meet y'all right back here right now. A lovely little trip out into the world, and now I have a bit that fits my nitty noddy. Can't really get it all in frame. There we go. That's it, simple as that. And now I can move into talking about the projects. Frog or finish? That is the question. All right, I'm just gonna reach back and grab the first thing. Okay, I started on, I believe it's called the Perfect Tea by Purl Soho. I bought this yarn a long time ago, over a year ago, absolutely, probably a year and a half ago. And I started on the Perfect Tea. It's a bottom-up construction, and it involved short rows. I did not have the experience then that I feel like I do now. At least I definitely feel more adventurous in the skills and the different techniques that I learn with knitting. Alas, I frogged that, and then I started this project where I'm holding the silk yarn double. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. This is Cattail Silk by Purl Soho, and this is, I think, like Flower Field Gray is the colorway. So it's this gray yarn that has these lovely specks in it. I mean, green, blue, pink, yellow, just a gorgeous little bits of color, like a flower field with gray as the background. I started on this because I wanted to just make like a kind of a plain tank top, I would say, just bottom up, split, do the front, back. I mean, I've made tank tops before. That's, I think, how they're all made. Also, the yarn is just so thin. I mean, that's like a light fingering to lace, I think. It's very, very light. What I decided to do instead, I'm working right now on a wool skirt with some more Purl Soho yarn. I started to make a skirt, and then I got a little like, oh, maybe skirt fever. That's what's going on right now. What I've decided to do is I'm going to unravel this, and then I'm going to make a skirt out of this. Now, it already held double with this thicker gauge. I've been using a 5mm needle, and I think I'm going to just hold it single, go smaller, and it'll be kind of see-through, little breezy, but I am thinking of this as kind of a at-home skirt, working in the garden. Being at home, it can be a little see-through, that's fine. If I go out in public, I can wear some kind of like nude shorts so that you can still see through, but you won't be seeing anything that I don't want you to see. So that is what I'm going to be doing with that. Without further ado, here is our first frog. One down. Okay, so frog 1, finish 0. Last year, my then boyfriend, now fiance, and I took a little road trip in the Southwest, going to visit his family. We stopped in Sedona. We stayed there for a night. It was snowy. I made a little vlog about it, so if you want to go watch that. Anyways, I bought some yarn at this yarn shop in Sedona as like a souvenir yarn. I do that a lot. I think it's such a cool way to commemorate a trip or a visit to a city. And I got this yarn, which I believe is just so aptly named Sedona. I don't have any of the information right now on hand about this yarn, but I'm almost positive it was a local dyer. I just got one skein of DK weight yarn, and I was like, I want to make socks out of this. Should knit up really fast, and it definitely did. It was a quick project. I think a day or two is all it took to get me to this point. Now, there are a couple of problems with this. One, I don't know where in my sock learning and all that kind of stuff that this exact sock came, but I was doing a contrast heel and toe, And I started to try to continue the black as I'm making my decreases, which means on the inside, I'm sure that this is just a hot mess. I've got like yarn bits that are cut off, and I mean, I didn't get too far. I think 2 rows is what it looks like I did, where I would like do a row, I cut it and then start it again. Okay, we get it. It's kind of a lost cause, but here's where I got to the Kitchener stitch. I got to the point where I'm supposed to do the Kitchener stitch, and I've decided to 100% frog it. Some people might think, oh, I put all this time and effort into this, I should like try to see it through. But if you're unhappy with the outcome of however you came to this point, then rip it back. This, knitting is about process, and it's about product. It's about all of these things, and it can vary between different projects. We really do want to enjoy the process and the product. So that is going to be a frog. 2 frogs, finish, zilch. All right, this project is something that I have been working on for almost the entire time I've been knitting. When I started, I got so excited and was like, I'm gonna make everybody that I know stuff. This is so cool. I can make just about anything, it seems, at sometimes. And I asked my Nana, I love my Nana so much. She's one of my favorite people in the world. And so I asked her if she would like anything, and, what kind of knitted object would she like to see from me? She said, a blanket. Which, depending on the weight of the yarn, can take a very long time or not a very long time. This has taken forever. I've stopped and started. It's been a journey. But here is the seed stitch blanket, I believe, by Purl Soho. This is using their cotton pure cone. That was another thing that really was like, oh, I could make a blanket where I don't have to weave in any ends, just all goes smooth. But here's the thing, this is a sport weight yarn and a throw size blanket. I can't remember the exact dimensions, but I forgot how many stitches I cast on, but like that, that's laying flat. That's my wingspan. What is my wingspan? Probably like, they say it's your height, 5'3". This is a lot. Here's the thing, I was working on it, great, going fine, everything's good, love it. And then I messed up. I believe this uses a double seed stitch, and I accidentally started to do some ribbing. So I got off on my count. It's easy to do with this amount of stitches on the needles. I don't want to go back and try to remedy it. Like, I don't want to try to pick up stitches anywhere and accidentally drop one. So I'm gonna frog this whole thing that I have going. It's not, I don't think I'm even halfway done, but I've broken it off from the cone because I knew that this was going to happen. I knew that I was going to end up frogging this. This is gonna be gone. And then I don't know if I'm gonna re-knit it. I think I will. I do really want to give this to my Nana. It's cotton, it can be machine washed, so it's not a burden or anything for her to have to hand wash. I just gave her a Sophie scarf that she has to hand wash, and that just didn't really feel right to me. Okay, so we got 3 frogs, no finishes yet. Okay, we're truly just gonna frog everything. Here's my next project. It's in this cute little Purl Soho X Bagoo bag. So Bagoo made this and love. I bought this yarn that I'm about to show you and everything in Monterey. So that's how old. Drew and I moved out here in October of 2022. It's 2024, yikes. So I bought this in Monterey. I really wanted to make a shawl for my grandmother, my grandma Johanna. And I started this. I started the shawl. And I got to, not super far, but I definitely got to work with these, modified cables. You'll see. It is a honey shawlette by Drea Renee Knits. And this is what it looks like. This is with the yarn that the pattern calls for, which is on the screen. Don't you love that? This is the yarn caked up. It's it's more of a rustic wool, but it's still very soft. I don't know how that works, but it, like, when it's against my skin, it's not itchy at all, but it's definitely not silky smooth. Gorgeous, love. See, I already borrowed the needles from this, so that's already not a good sign. But I am going to frog this. I am absolutely going to knit this again. It was kind of a fun little start to, like, semi-cables, not true cables, but using some cabling techniques. Definitely trial and error to start, but I got the pattern down. I have a row counter. That's how I was able to actually keep track. But I am going to frog this, and I am going to knit it again. Because again, I don't really want to start here. I want to start over and fresh with my new outlook on life, new spring mood. Did you hear my shoulder crack? Oh my gosh. Frog. 4 frog, 0 finish. I'm going to pick a finish one so that it's not all just frog. Last year, this is another purl soho yarn. What's going on with my purl sohos? I'm just not, getting the vibe right the first time, but that's okay. This is yarn. We get to just, like, unravel, get it all right again, and then go. This is Purl Soho's yarn Burnish. Unsure if they still have it. I think it might not be on their website anymore, but it is a rayon made out of bamboo yarn, and I think this color is like black seal or something. It's obviously just a black, but I wanted to make a tank top with it, kind of similar to one by, I think it might be Spectula Strick. I truly don't know. It's on the screen, but I wanted to make a tank top that was garter stitch with an I-cord edge. I don't know. You can kind of see that. So I have the I-cord edge. This is going to be the back. I didn't want it to be so square neck, but here we are. I am going to add I-cord to the edge of these when I sew it all together. So here's the back. And then I am so far on the front, like truly. Here is where I'm at. I made these little indents so that, for the pits. And I decrease, and it's going to be more of like a, oh, that looks so cute. What the heck? A little high neck thing. So I think I have a little, this might be a pretty good, this might be getting close to stopping point. Like maybe a little bit further up. I made this one smaller than, like, less stitches cast on so that the I-cord will come forward and so you can see it a little better. I don't know. We'll see how that works. I'm just experimenting here, but I'm gonna finish this project. I'm so far. The only thing that is deterring me from finishing this project is the yarn situation, which is currently this. I've only been looking at it in the bag itself, so it didn't seem this dramatic, but this is what we're working with right now. So that is why it has taken me forever. I'm sure I would have finished it sooner if my yarn ball didn't decide to give up on me. Or is that? I think one might be... Y'all, why would I mess with this right now? Okay, our first finish. That is awesome. Okay, we have 4 frog, 1 finish, and last but not least, final. Yay! Only 5 projects. I feel like that's not so terrible. I started to make some fingerless gloves for my fiance last year. This is yarn that I got to make his first hat out of, which he lost. That's fine. And I just haven't found a use for it yet. But I believe it was a drops pattern. It was free on Ravelry. I'll link it. And it was fingerless gloves with a flap so that you can make them full gloves. And I started with the band. I'd never made a pair of gloves before, so I was a little bit lost, I'll say, on like what to, you know, doing the thumb increases and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know why. I recently made a pair of fingerless gloves and they worked out great. It was very easy, but sometimes it's just your mentality going into a project and where you are. You know, are you thinking about this project? Are you thinking about others that are catching your eye more or are easier in that moment, so that it makes it even more easy to put this down and pick up the less complicated project. But I am going to frog this. I mean, it's just a cuff. That's not too bad. I'm going to frog this, and I am going to, I think I will end up knitting a pair of gloves for him and coming into it hopefully with a better mindset. Now is where it gets fun, I think. And that is, we are going to, you know, try out our brand spanking new nitty noddy. There are a couple of projects that, like, for instance, this one, I might just cut this off and cut my losses with this. I have a bag where I am collecting yarn scraps, and I think that this probably not worth, juice is not worth the squeeze. I heard Wool Needle's Hands say that the other day in her video, and I was like, that's a lovely little saying. Juice is not worth the squeeze, so I think I'm just gonna cut my losses with that one. Definitely going to wind this. It's not very much yarn just because it's a DK weight. I'm definitely gonna wind this, cut my losses with the toe and heel. I'm gonna break this, wind it. It's not very much yarn again, but for the sake of the new nitty noddy, why not? Absolutely going to do it with this. And then with this project, same thing. I'm really going to be unraveling 4 projects. So I'm gonna watch a video again on how to wind up yarn on this just so I get it completely correct. And then I think we're gonna start. I just watched a video from the Woolery on how to wind up using a nitty noddy, and I really like this. So she holds the yarn right here, starts up there, down, up, down, up. And so she said you don't want to hold, you don't want to let go of the center when you're doing this. And so that is why, oh, I hope this is, maybe I don't need to do it so tight. I don't know. A learning opportunity. I got stuck. Okay. I think that looks about right. And so I am going to continue like this until it is all wound up. Probably have to be looking at it while I do it because it's my first time. Y'all, this is working. This is kind of crazy. Oh, Ivy wants to come in, I think. And since we're unraveling yarn, she is fine to come in here because if she destroys it, that's a-okay with me. Oh no, this is so therapeutic. Oh y'all, it is the next day. Last night I got into a bit of a tangled mess with my blanket yarn that I ended up winding up. I got a lot of the knots out, but at some point I just gave up and still ended up with a bunch of yarn. So if that comes back to bite me when I'm finishing the blanket, then so be it. It was just to a point where I could not look at tangled yarn anymore. And I actually sat here for a while and did it. But beyond that, I was just able to hank up the next four projects / I just wound this up. You all probably just saw that, but not worth cutting it or ripping and using the noddy. So it's just gonna sit here in this ball and I think it'll be fine. Maybe it'll sit here long enough that the ramen noodle will dissipate. Anyways, I thought I'd show you all the hanks. So I did them on the noddy and then I hanked them up. I'm going to unhank them when I put them in water so that the water can get to every last inch of the yarn. But here are the 3 smaller ones. So this was a sock and now is this. This was that shawl, not a lot. And then this is the silk, the cattail silk by Purl Soho, which I was making that top out of. And it all came together very nicely. The only thing is I don't know how I'm going to undo the 2 yarns from this because I did hold it double and now I would like to hold it single when I end up making my next project with it. So I'm unsure. I think it might just have to be a lot of patience, which sometimes is in short supply. So there's that. And I wanted to save this for last because how funny does this look? I mean, look at my smallest. I did my best to hank these up. If you watched the Advent videos that I put out this past Christmas time / January, because I'm horrible at filming and then editing. We're getting better. If you recall those videos, I described my rehanking of yarn as loose ass hanks, but I think these all came out to be pretty nice. I don't know if it's the amount of yarn. Some of this, you know, this kind of feels like a little bit bigger than a mini skein, but not that much bigger. I digress. So now that we have all of these hanked up in proper modes so that when I do put them into water, they won't get all tangled up. I dealt with that last night. It was no fun. It's the next day. I had a first aid CPR training today, which was about 4 hours long and it was an hour away. So it took up a pretty good portion of my day. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to wash these or get these dunked in water tonight. I'm gonna try. Still got, you know, some beginning of the week stuff to do before the day is over. So might wait for a little while for that. But we're at a really good place because everything is all where it should be. I'm gonna start taking the yarn out of these project bags. So I'll have a bunch of project bags that are all freed up, which will be very nice. And yeah, it's going well so far. If y'all are interested in a niddy and you have not felt the need to pull the plug, a niddy is too expensive. This, I believe, came out to be under $10. It works just perfectly. And as the lady who runs the blog who posted it said, you can dip this in water. Very easy. Even better if you have a lovely fiance who will cut the PVC for you because you break it, as you all saw. I tried to use the miter saw and I ended up breaking the first piece of PVC. All right, y'all. Well, then I guess we'll get to washing them. So I'm gonna do this in the tub, but I have this container. I've had it for a while. It's just a plastic tub, fairly shallow, and I thought it would be really good for this yarn. And I'm not gonna do the water. Like, I think it's just gonna be kind of medium warm. I don't want it to be too hot because I really don't want these colors to bleed into each other, especially because I have the undyed cotton, and that would just be no good if I got some orange and maybe blue on there. So I'm gonna set this down in my bathtub. We're gonna do this. Thanks for joining me. Sorry about the acoustics. here they are, all done, all dried. All in all, these 3 hanks took maybe a day and a half to dry. I mean, this yarn was dry in a day. So these all dried up very easily. This one, I've had to move around quite a bit, spread out the yarn, put it, you know, in a warm room. This room is very warm, but just hanging it in various places to try to get every nook and cranny that was hiding. And now it is all dry. Y'all saw when I was winding them up, the yarns bloomed out beautifully. They're no longer ramen noodles, as I so affectionately called them earlier. I have approximately 1 million projects going on right now, so I'm not going to immediately start these projects again. I think there's going to be a time and place for them to begin again, to start anew. These 2 yarns specifically, I'm working on a couple of fingering weight socks right now, and so I'm not really interested in putting a pair of DK weight socks on the needles, partially because it is so thick, it's DK. I'm really looking for this to be a part of my sock wearing time during the winter. And right now my mind is jumping ahead for spring, so I don't think that I would even not finish it. Goodness gracious, I hope I actually finish it. That would be so sad. So to prevent that from happening for me to be in another frog scenario, I'm gonna put these 2 on hold. Again, socks, DK, more winter, shawl knitting. I have a couple of other big projects that are going on right now, and so I don't really want to add another shawl into the mix. Same with the blanket. The projects that I am currently working on give me the same effect that I need this project to do. The finished piece that I make with this yarn is a gift, but it's one of those kind of mindless knits. It's a double seed stitch. You know, mindless enough if you can switch between knitting and purling, but I have other big zone out kind of projects that I'm working on. One, and then I want to start another one soon with this yarn actually. So this is going to be the only yarn that I'm going to use for my frogged projects in the near future, and by near future I mean spring summer. It's a 100% silk yarn, so that makes sense as to why I would want to use it immediately. I have, you know, like I said, I have approximately 1 million projects, so I have a little while before I'm going to be able to start something like this. But when I do, again, it's going to be another nice couch project, a nice mindless knit. That's gonna do it for part 1 of my spring refresh series, Frog or Finish. The next part in this series, I'm going to be putting the finishing touches as well as modifying a few finished objects that I have that I think when I do what I plan on doing, it will really elevate these pieces and I will want to wear them more, which is kind of the point of all this, right? Like, we're making stuff to be able to wear it, and I want to give my garments the best chance that they have at that as possible. And then part 3 is going to be revamping my project palace. So y'all stay tuned to future videos, future plans that I have down the road. I'm in a creative kick right now. I'm feeling good. Like, I've got fun ideas, and I would love it if you all joined me on this little lily pad of the internet. Get it, lily pad, because feeling froggy? I'm into the frog now. I am the frog. Become the frog. Shut up, Maya. What are you saying? Anyway, if you enjoy this, why don't you subscribe to the channel? Stick around. Become a frog with me. And like this video if you liked it. Comment down below if you all have any fun spring cleaning, refresh, knitting, or other plans. I would love to hear from you all. I know that I get so much of my inspiration for knitting and really life from the people that I follow and watch videos of, especially on YouTube. If there's nothing else to say, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye. Please don't mind the sweatpants. Very safe.